And my daughter-in-law said...
Testing.
It was all the way over here. Look at my...
Before we begin, let's have a moment of silence for the victims of 9/11, both the first 9/11 and the one 2012. Okay. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of September 11th, 2018 was included in a meeting notice sent to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post on January 8th, 2018, and advertised in said newspapers on January 11th of 2018, respectively posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 8th, 2018, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk, So let's have our roll call, please.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Here.
Ms. Schneider?
Here.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Here.
Mr. Costa?
Here.
Mayor Mashaki?
Here. Takes us to minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular committee of August 14th, 2018?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session of August 14th, 2018?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. And we have 5 reports for August of 2018. Those reports are from the tax collector, code enforcement officials, our fire officials, construction, and emergency services reports. Is there a motion to accept all those reports?
So moved. I'll second that.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. So that takes us to comments from the public, and this first portion is for agenda items only. Are there any comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll move on, which takes us to discussion and presentation. First one is Street Scan Automatic Asset Management Program.
All right, so while that's loading, warming up, I have the website for Street Scan to present to everybody, just to kind of help me explain the program to all of you. So pretty much what Street Scan does is they've created this program in conjunction with Northeastern University, basically for less than what it costs for engineering assessment to go through our local roadways, which we have 30 miles of, and do a formal road assessment, whether it be for the roads that we maybe want to resurface or repulverize or repave for this year, or do a comprehensive assessment. They come through with a van and has various different modalities to capture information on our roadways. So it builds a GIS-coded database and an ESRI map of all of our local streets. It takes photos of all of our road surface. It also takes video recording of it. It has automatic detection of various assets like manhole covers, identifies potholes, and other repairs that are needed. And it also gives you an estimation of repair costs, uses traffic volumes, uses weather, things of that nature to build an interactive capital planning tool that will help us estimate the cost for a 10 to 15 year road maintenance program. We will own the data. It is ours to keep in perpetuity. We get to see a map that we can actually share with the public. We can do that through a link on our website. And it actually... So this is the map, or I'm sorry, this is the van with the various modalities that they use. They have a radar system in the front, they have a front video, recording device, a front camera. They've got, GPS sensors, so it captures all the GPS locations of every area or item that we want to have a GPS address for, such as our catch basin. And I'll go over that in a minute. A rear camera. So that helps to find and identify cracking, alligator cracks, transverse cracking, longitudinal. And these are all terms and modalities that are used by our engineers to rate on roadways. Sorry, it's kind of off. There's your surface radar. That's what helps find potholes. Again, identifies manholes, catch basins. And actually has a microphone, and it measures mean texture depth as for an ASTM standard related to road texture and friction. A lot of this stuff is kind of above my head. I'm definitely not an engineer. But this is the interactive map that is created, and these are color-coded based on the road ratings that are generated. So Jay's guys did that already, and if you remember, I provided you guys with a binder of every road. So, but we did that not really as a professional. We did it the best we could using engineering standards, using engineering reports and things like that. But this will actually take it a step further and use all those modalities and create a map, and based on the type of road surface project that would need to be done, whether it's a repulverization, complete reconstruction, just milling and overlay, or just a surface overlay. And it color codes it based on those needs. So, in essence, what it's doing is giving you the ability to make data-driven decisions. And it's a comprehensive planning tool that can be used well beyond us 10, 15 years from now. It actually has an algorithm in place that uses depreciation based on climate control, based on the use of the roadway. So it automatically depreciates, so you don't have to keep coming out and reassessing the roads in a sense. All of this data is put together, and it also provides you with a cost per mile so that you can budget each year for those roads and what needs to be fixed. So again, we can share that information with the public, and the evaluation, again, they perform is done using 3D cameras, radar sensors, and other equipment. So in addition to that assessment, I mentioned the catch basin GIS inventory. So that is an add-on to their overall program. And we have been, when DEP comes down and does their random inspections for our stormwater permit, our MS4 permit, we always have an infraction in terms of not properly identifying the catch basins that we inspect and that we clean. Like, we can't just use a general the first catch basin on Patriot Way. DEP wants us to actually have every catch basin properly identified, whether it's a GPS address, or then we would take that and number them ourselves. But that would be something that we could also address with our MS4 permit. And what's nice is we can go back and we can look at that captured photo of a particular area of a road to make decisions. We don't have to literally drive out to that roadway. We can just go right on our computer and look at the data that's been captured, whether it's a video or a camera. And that's pretty much it. So through the New Jersey Municipal Managers Association, this is something that was shared from other managers in our association. I can tell you that I don't know specific towns that actually have it. A lot of North Jersey towns use this type of database for their decision-making. But again, it's a great planning tool in my opinion. It will help you all make decisions in terms of what to budget each year, because that information is going to pop up for every roadway. So if you select 5 roads that you want to repair, you're going to have a great idea as to how much that's going to cost you each year, so you can do that capital planning for a road program.
Is it cutting out any engineering costs?
Yes.
How does it cut out an engineering cost?
because now we don't have to have any engineer go out and do the formal engineering assessment. This is doing it for us, for every roadway.
But the engineer has to still draw up the work, correct?
Correct. That's a different part of the road maintenance program.
I haven't really looked into it totally, but it's a hell of a lot of money for someone to tell me my road's bad. I mean, I can see it being used up north because north gets, the hell beat out of their roads, but, $15,750 for someone to tell me I got cracks on my street.
Well, it's more than that, and it's not 15,000, actually. It's actually $2,250 less, because unfortunately they thought we had 40 miles of roadway. It's actually only 30, and the number of catch basins will be reduced as well because of that. So the initial...
Next question is, how many catch basins do we have in town?
Over 500.
500 catch basins?
They're all the catch basins on the side of the road, the stormwater catch basins with the grates that are next to your curbing.
But that's not what the DEP's asking for us to do. They're doing that.
They want them identified properly and specifically. They don't want general reporting as to, they want a specific catch basin, and they want quantity of debris cleaned from those catch basins. Estimated quantity.
I don't know about that. Because
just review.
actually the basins are located within the HOAs. It's not actually...
They're still our streets. We still own those streets
I understand the streets, but...
and the infrastructure. For example, we have another pipe failure at 22 Bancroft. Even though that's within Lakeside, Creekside, we're still responsible for that repair. But yeah, so DEP, DST 09001-201, are we inspecting and cleaning all catch basins owned or operated by the municipality in accordance with catch basin inspecting and cleaning minimum standards by EDPA and thereafter?
I mean, I could be totally wrong. John, help me out on this. I mean, like when they talk about basins, I thought these were the large basins, that were, used to fill up
Detention pond?
Yeah.
Those are detention or retention.
So, when they say catch basin, they mean every inlet, every little...
That's my understanding, but
Yeah,
I
jeez.
do know that follow-up question.
Sure.
You said the DEP requires some kind of quantification of the flow going in the catch basins?
Debris.
Okay, great.
So if our public works crew goes out and they clean the catch basins, what they're supposed to do for our MS4 permit, we're supposed to give an estimated amount of debris that we're literally removing from each of those catch basins. And we're supposed to provide them with which specific catch basin has been cleaned.
This seems so time-consuming. If
It
that's
is.
a requirement, is there any repercussion for failing to observe that requirement?
I can say in going through all of our stormwater data from 2004, when the state put this regulation in our hands, unfunded, unmandated, or mandated regulation, we've had several notices for violations, but I don't see that they've come out and fined us, but I'm sure that they can
Right.
for failure to remedy.
Now, this program takes a truck. I see a picture of a truck, so I'm assuming it takes a truck to move around with these detectors. How often would the company move the truck around every street? Once annually?
Just once,
One-time period.
one time.
And from that, they can tell how much debris is going into the catch basins all the time?
No, they're going to identify our catch basins for us.
They're mapping the basin.
They're mapping it. They're mapping our roads, they're identifying the infrastructure of our roads, whether it's a 70 to 80 rating, which will require a complete reconstruction, or 80 to 90, which will require just milling and overlay, or 90 to 100, which will require just an overlay or just to keep our eye on it. So we're getting ready to embark on our first formal road maintenance program, and this is a planning tool that will help us map that out and budget accordingly from year to year.
So it would be roughly the same cost every year, well, given cost increases, right? It would be the $16,000 or so a year, is that?
No, this is a one-time cost, but the annual,
$1,300?
like $1,300 a year is what we would pay for to be able to continue to use the program and access that GIS program that we would have. We don't have our own GIS program, so we would have to tap into theirs.
We have to pay for them to drive their truck around, of course, right?
That's that initial
That's at one time.
one-time.
What
It's
about-
actually, it's about $13,000.
What about subsequent years? They don't do that anymore?
No, because there's an algorithm in place that will account for road depreciation, changing weather conditions, our climate, how much that roadway is traveled, if it's a residential road compared to a main township-owned artery, like Washington Street, things
So it
like
really is a one-time expense.
that. Yes.
And our engineer says it will save money, is that the idea?
I don't know that our engineer has said that it's going to save money, but it's going to save money. We won't be paying for our engineer to go out and evaluate our roads every year. This is a one-time $13,000 cost with an added on of about $3,000 for the catch basin GPS identifying. Of course, there are still engineering costs associated with road maintenance programs. They will still have to do their engineering work in terms of a cost estimate to actually do the repairs, but, to actually do the work and help with the bid specification and the advertising and the contract oversight, things like that. But the cost estimating is done for us for each road. And an actual, I can go further on in that, but you would click over a roadway and another box would pop up, which would give you the actual linear feet or linear miles of that road, what it was categorized as needing, and the actual cost estimate, what it would cost to repair that roadway.
Well, it gives us then, correct me if I'm wrong, it saves us money in two ways. One, it eliminates part of the engineering bill because a lot of that information that would come from the engineer we already have via this program. And the second way it would save money is that it would allow us to be proactive where repairs may be needed and budget accordingly than waiting for something catastrophic to happen and then get hit with a much bigger bill in service, right? So this is more of not only just a cost savings mechanism, but it's also a preventative measure as well.
Well, absolutely. I mean, even if you ignore alligator cracking and you don't do an overlay, that can cost you more money in the long run, because now you're going to have to do pulverizing instead of doing an overlay, which would give you another 10, 15 years of protecting that road, whereas if you don't do anything, now you're going to pulverize, which is going to cost you twice as much. So, and the residents can access this at any time. Again, it gives you the ability to make data-driven decisions. You can say, yeah, this road is within that 70 to 80. It's using factual-based information, third-party data that's been collected, and this helps with your decision-making.
Right, and then your budget, based on the information provided by this program, which gives you a more specific sense as to what you need to place in a budget in any given year, because it's really just guessing because you won't have this information. We don't have this information now, so we're trying to extrapolate from the past going forward as to what the budget might be, taking into account appreciation of prices and so forth and whatnot. But now you're looking at this with a more specific eye and can tailor your budget and avoid surprises going forward, which always end up hurting financially. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to say it because I've seen it, that, you all, when you make these decisions, can say, it's here, it's, because God forbid a road winds up being on one of your streets, and, you know what I mean, people might make an assumption that it's only being done on your street because, it's you. That takes that away. You have factual-based information to support your decision-making. It's not just because.
It shows, they have a way of telling that the road's going to give way. There's been several instances on roads that I'm personally acquainted with, that have caved in. And rather deep holes are now forming where it looks like, something out of a bad movie. It will know this by driving around. It can foretell that.
It'll pick that up. It'll pick that depression in the roadway, and it'll be included in
So
the
even though it may
algorithm.
not be visible right now,
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if the radar system or sonar system can see through the asphalt. I don't know if it can do that.
It can't. There's no
It
way.
probably can't do that, but what it can do, though, is provide us with an internal control with regard to bids received from engineers. So if an engineer says, we gotta fix, 50 linear feet of the highway, and you pull up the program, it says, no, you only have to fix 40, then, you get hit with a bill for 10 linear feet that you don't need to pay for. So it provides us with an internal control mechanism when we're entertaining bids from engineers to do the work.
Sure. And when you
Just
have
a little bit more, more information you have, the better off you are in negotiating with the engineers, or at least
Again.
challenging their contract.
It is a planning tool. With having a public works department of only 5, it also has efficiencies, bless you, in terms of, we can pull this information up and we can look at a roadway together instead of having to drive all the way out there. These kinds of efficiencies, are very much appreciated with such a small manpower department.
Any other questions from the committee, or Paula, on this before we move on?
A lot of our roads that we're doing now, we're using grant monies, correct?
Correct.
So we're not really budgeting money out of our budget to fix the roads. We're using grant monies to fix our roads.
We
one road.
budgeted $500,000 for this year, but we have not kicked off the formal road program yet. But we did receive the DOT for Phillips Road, which was our second application. And we have 2 years to get that project complete. But that's the only grant that I'm aware of for a road program.
And every year you do go out for roads, correct?
We did last year for Phillips Road, and we were successful after several attempts
That's the only road you go out for is Phillips Road?
so far.
Anything else from the committee? All right, thanks, Paula.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
We have,
You're welcome.
2 officers from the state police, and I just wanted to let the public know that they're here. They're prepared to, they let us know how we're doing. I think we're doing okay. Man, you don't have a presentation you'd like to make? Is my understanding correct? No. All right, so if you want to leave, you're free to leave. We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to ordinances for tonight. First ordinance is ordinance 2018-12, amending Chapter 44 of the Code of the Township of Hainesport entitled Affordable Housing. This is for public hearing and adoption. Anyone?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. We have a motion from Lee. Made a motion to adopt the ordinance? To open it to the public, I'm sorry. Is there,
Public hearing in Lee,
we're opening it to the public, so,
right. Making a motion, and I need a second before we can move forward.
open it.
No one yet.
Oh,
I made the motion. Now someone needs to second the motion.
Need a second to open it to the public.
Second.
do we do a count?
All in favor?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, now, anybody from the public want to, have any questions or anything about the ordinance that's before us? Seeing none? We'll just close it, all right. Wait, is there one? I thought I heard somebody, okay. All right, so we move to adopt at this point?
Motion to adopt would be in order. If there's any questions from the committee.
Okay. Any questions from the committee, and I'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
No questions.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Our second ordinance for tonight is ordinance 2018-13, amending Chapter 104 of the Code of the Township of Hainesport, specifically Section 104-123 relating to signs. And this is a first reading introduction. Our public hearing and final adoption will be on October 9th at our next meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. That takes us to resolutions. The first resolution for tonight is Resolution 2018-122-8, authorizing contract for purchase of electricity for municipality-owned buildings and street lights from Progressive Energy Consultants. Is there a motion? Going once?
Do we have,
Is there a motion?
if not, we have no electric.
This is for the
Do we have
township
the-
only,
This is
right?
for the township
Township
only.
only.
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion.
All right. Do we have is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, based on just the township buildings, yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes, for the reason Fitzpatrick gave.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes, just for the public's edification, the municipality can't participate in that consortium. So it has to rely on its own devices to enter into an electricity contract. That's what that resolution is all about. Okay, Resolution 2018-131-9, approve firemen into the New Jersey State Firemen's Association. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Resolution 2018-132-9, authorizing a contract for Fire Prevention Bureau software. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second that?
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Resolution 2018-133-9, a person-to-person transfer of a liquor license for Ted's Liquor Store. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Abstain, please.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Resolution 2018-134-9, ordering the correction of the township's tax record and authorizing the refund of an excessive payment for Block 164.01, Lot 15, to Courtney Longnecker. Is there
Actually,
a...
that's block 64.01.
I'm sorry, thank you, 64.01, Lot 15, to Courtney Longnecker. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. All right, now, we regard these tax certificates, we're not doing them tonight, correct?
No, we need to pull them again, unfortunately, because the first one, Resolution 2018-135-9, they are in bankruptcy, therefore we cannot enter into any kind of tax sale. And the other two, the owner came in and paid the lien.
Okay, so that takes us down to item I, if you're following along in the agenda. Resolution 2018-138-9, authorizing a contract for automated street and catch basin data collection and processing and online web application software, which is what the subject of our presentation was. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to enter into this contract?
I'll make the motion.
All right, we have one. Is there a second? One time.
Yeah, I know. I'll second.
Okay.
Mr. Costa?
Yes, I think in the long run, this will be a cost-benefit plus for the town. And, I noticed that a few years ago, we had a cave-in of the street in the Creekview section. Somebody put one of those big waste containers out in the street, and sure enough, the darn thing sunk into the asphalt and caused damage to the pipes underneath and cost a lot of money. So I think something like this may go a little way toward alleviating something like that from happening again. And for the other reasons expressed too. I think it's a labor-saving device, and it's helpful to the town.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
No.
Ms. Schneider?
No, only because I would like more time to do research on this. I would like to contact the towns in North Jersey who are using it and see how they like it and how they're benefiting, if they are. So for that reason, no. I would like to revisit it, though. But just,
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Resolution 2018-139-9, confirming employment for a seasonal public works employee. Is there a motion?
so moved.
Second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. And I think this is our last resolution for tonight, but Resolution 2018-140-9, awarding a professional services contract for engineering service for the Phillips Road surfacing project. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
I want to apologize.
Sure.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Before you go on this resolution, can I ask a certain change to be made to it?
Sure.
Please.
I was going to leave that.
Sorry.
So in this resolution, even though there is a grant, the funding in the engineering is not there to be certified between now and November. There is enough, however, to pay for phases 1 and 2 of the proposal. So the township received four proposals. The lowest proposal was from Remington and Vernick, and the total amount of 31 and change, I think it was. The chief financial officer could not certify enough funds in that line item to award the full contract. So if the committee does want to get started with it, she can certify the first 2 phases. So the first phase was, and it's in your resolution, so if you want to look at the resolution, it says the following services will be provided, and it has base plan preparation and utility coordination. That was $7,200. The next bullet point is preliminary and final engineering design. That was $10,625. She can certify that $17,825 as being available to award that part of the contract. The other 2 components combined for about $13,975, and that is not available. So, if you want to go ahead and get started on this and take advantage of the grant that you've received, I would ask that you, follow along, I'll read this to you, but it's some editing of the document in front of you. After the third whereas clause, where it says, although exempt from formal public bidding, 4 proposals were solicited for consideration, I would ask that you then put, and whereas Remington and Vernick Engineers, the Presidential Center, Lincoln Building, Suite 600, Cinnamon, New Jersey, has submitted a proposal for a professional services contract in an amount not to exceed $31,800, comprised of the following services to be provided. And then those 4 bullet points become Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and Phase 4. Then, at the end of each, it would have the dollar figure for the phases that's consistent with their proposal, which I just read a minute ago, $7,200, $10,625, etc. And then add after that, before you get any resolves. And whereas the township's chief financial officer has certified the availability of funds in the amount of $17,825 to cover phases 1 and 2, and whereas the Township Committee believes it is in the best interest of the community to begin the project, with the understanding that if funds become available after November 1, 2018, it will award the balance of the contract. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hainesport that Remington and Vernick, at the address set forth above, is hereby authorized to proceed with phases 1 and 2 of this project,
And be it further resolved that the Township Committee will consider amending the balance awarding the balance of the project after November 1, 2018, in order to allow the opportunity to evaluate the merits of a potential transfer of funds to facilitate payment for the balance of the contract as submitted by Remington and Vernick. Be it further resolved, and this is what's on your page, where it says, be further resolved, that the services for phases 1 and 2 agreed to as stated in the Phillips Road professional services contract dated September 12, 2018, are included in the contract for the agreed-to price as stated in the contract, and the rest of it is okay after that. If that's the committee's preference to award those first 2 phases, that's how that resolution will be revised.
Well, then let's see if there's a motion to amend Resolution 2018-140-9 as set forth by Mr. Gillespie. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
I just want to make sure, John, to go on record that although I do work with Remington and Vernick in another town, that I am allowed to vote on this.
You are. I've discussed that with you, and I find no conflict of interest there at all.
Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes.
Now a motion to adopt the resolution will be held.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-140-9 as amended?
So moved.
Second that.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes.
And I ask if committee would consider adding the following resolution to the agenda for your consideration, 2018-142-9. And that's authorizing change order number 1 in the contract for repair and construction of sidewalks, curbs, warning surfaces, and striping on Edwin, Albert, and Washington Streets. That is a minor fields quantity adjustment, which is actually a reduction in the payment to the contractor by $1,814.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to allow Resolution 2018-142-9 to be discussed?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-142-9?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. All right, that takes us to the business portion of tonight.
If I,
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry, one more,
right.
related to the contract. Resolution 2018-143-9, authorizing the final payment to Pioneer General Contracting Company Incorporated and acknowledging the completion of the CDBG sidewalk project. Final payment in the amount of $24,013.
Is there a motion to amend the agenda to allow Resolution 2018-143-9 to be discussed?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-143-9?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Okay, now that takes us to the business portion of tonight's meeting, and we
Excuse me,
have...
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I have a motion to make. I promised at the last meeting that I would make a motion to basically reverse the decision of this board to enter into the electric plan with the county. And therefore, I want to honor my duty to bring that motion this evening. I wanted us just to have a second chance, a second bite of the apple, after considering the issue a little bit more, and maybe after listening to the neighbors and the public. And it's still my position that the county electric plan is somewhat inviting. There's a few dollars of savings every month. I calculated $4.50 every month on a $150 bill. And that may appear to be a good thing. It is a good thing, but there's competition out there as well. And I felt that it would be wrong for us to make people's decisions to choose their electric company automatically. I know there is a chance for each household to opt out, but they have to make an affirmative decision to do that and sign paperwork, and that may be a little bit too
That's
much.
not true, Ted.
to
They
people.
don't have to sign paperwork.
Well, they have to do something affirmatively
It's
to opt out.
very quick online, enter your account number
I
and you're
stand
up
corrected. They have to go online. Some people don't have access to internet, and some people are unfamiliar with it, but they have to go online and affirmatively opt out. So, I thought that each individual household would be better, more equitable, to allow each and every household their right, to preserve their right, to make their own decisions for them, and to choose their own electric company. There are plenty of electric companies out there competing, and they're all offering deals. I don't know what those deals are, but they all promise to do better than PSE&G. And so that's why I decided that we shouldn't play the nanny state and kind of compel people to enter into something that they otherwise would not choose without governmental interference. And therefore, I make the motion to on this board to move to reverse the decision of the Township of Hainesport to enter into the electric agreement with the County of Burlington. I don't think it's best for our residents. Is there a second?
Is there a second to?
Amend the-
I totally agree with you, Ted. It's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately, so, it is what it is. But I do have to say, I agree with what you're saying.
Well, the motion not being seconded, I believe the motion dies, correct?
Hang on, did Ms. Fitzpatrick second the motion?
No,
I did not, no.
You're not?
I did not. It's not going to go anywhere, Ted. You know as well as I do, it's not right for the town, but it's not going to go anywhere, so,
I stand alone.
yeah. Sorry.
All right.
It wouldn't go anywhere. I mean, if I thought it was going to pass, I would definitely move with you, but it's not.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right, well, let's just leave it at that we can agree to disagree. I mean, the consensus of the committee was that it was helpful for the town, any savings for anyone, especially those in the town. The fixed income, assuming Ted's average is correct, $4.50 a month comes to $60 at the end of the year. That might be a Christmas gift for someone. It may be clothing, it may be food, it may be anything else, but at least there is someone
guaranteed savings.
there is someone or some people in government looking out for the people that are struggling. That's my perspective. That takes us to business. Approval of business license. Is there a motion to approve the business license this month?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Rashaki?
Yes. All right, that takes us to the second portion of public participation. Keep in mind your comments are limited to 5 minutes, and I see a hand right up front. I get you a minute.
Good evening, Anna Evans, 63 Parry Drive. Couple of things. First of all, I think it was said on Facebook, on Hainesport Happenings, that tonight was going to be the first filmed meeting, but I don't see the cameras unless I'm missing them.
Smile.
Smile, wave, Anna.
Excellent, thank you for pointing that out. Now, I would like you to speak to the signs ordinance, ordinance 2018-13. Is it possible to get more information about what that is?
Which one?
Ordinance 2018-13, amending the code relating to signs.
What is it specifically that you would like to know?
How we're amending the code.
I think there is a copy of, you don't get a copy of it.
Not automatically, no. I mean, we've done it before and you've given me a copy, but could we state it so that everybody knows?
Well, it's,
Bear with us.
Amends the ordinance to allow billboards in the I-1 zone and on township-owned property in any commercial or highway zone.
Right, so we're increasing the number of billboards that are allowed in the township?
If they're on township-owned property.
Okay. Can I grab a copy of it from you after, Paula? Thank you. And finally, I'd just like to ask why Mr. Costa felt the need to abstain from the liquor license transfer?
You see, as an attorney, I've represented so many of these characters down the road, And I'm afraid that someone like you is going to complain if I go out and vote on the darn resolution. That's why.
I'm just keeping an eye out on everything, Ted, just checking. All right, thank you very much.
All right. You want to appear in the second row?
Good evening. My name is Nikki Maskell. I live at 6 Melody Court.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Joseph Mescal. I live at 6 Melody Court. Hi, my name is Owen Mescal, and I live at 6 Melody Court.
For the real.
Thank you. So cute.
Thank you for having us. I've actually been here before. It's quite a few years ago. But the reason I'm back is due to the fact that my sons have lost their bus for Hainesport School. And they definitely wanted to go on the bus this year. That said, we do need to walk along Washington Street and get to the school. There is no extra crossing guard. In addition, it's a very busy street. We live close to the corner of Washington and Deacon. In the past, there have been speed surveys. Leo Selb conducted one, and the average speed was 41 miles an hour. We have no curb, and in addition, the street has not been widened where we live. If you were to look in our backyard, there are tire tracks that come over the walkway. So when you ask for my 7-year-old and 5-year-old to walk to school, I ask them to have a safe walkway. Never mind that I have 2.5-year-old twins, and driving them every morning is a little bit of a hassle to get in and out the door. I do appreciate that there's a speed monitor again on that road. However, everyone goes the speed limit when you put that on there. We were promised speed bumps by Leo Selb, as well as other people that are no longer on the committee. And we do see more traffic on this road because of the speed bumps that are effective on Deacon. So in a way, we've kind of forced this problem on Washington. So I'm here to ask you to revisit the idea of a speed hump. Again, we'd be happy to have it right behind our house. But if they are to walk, they need to be given a safe walkway. We did not receive a new curb with the curb project, which I thought was excellent, by the way. I appreciate you improving the town, and I just ask you to improve the street that we live on, as I hope these kids stay here in Hainesport, because I think it's a great town.
Thank you so
Great,
much.
thank you. Thank you.
Melody, is that your street? I'm sorry.
Yes. Melody Court.
Anyone else in public participation? Is anyone up first, Jerry? Let's...
I agree with her statement.
Let,
I agree with it also.
all right, wait, that's not the... You have to come up to the podium. Wait a minute. Wait, this gentleman. You want them to go first? All right, he's deferring his time to you. No, you can go first. Go ahead.
We live on Washington as well.
Your name?
When the new,
Wait, you have
Donna?
to give your name and address, please.
Donna Herring, 402 Washington Street, and I've lived there for 11 years, and there wasn't a traffic problem until her development was built, and then as my neighbor's house and homes were built, we asked for speed humps as well when they were being built, the homes, but we've been told that from the EMTs and the fire, that speed humps actually impair them getting to emergencies and things like that. So, I mean, as much as I agree with you, like, I used to take Deacon all the time when I first moved there, but because of those steep hills, no one takes Deacon anymore. So, I mean, it's all fine and well if you want them, but it's really not it's gonna be too more harm than good if they put the speed humps in. And how can you not be bused anymore? Okay. I thought you would live far enough away that they would be bused.
All right, well, let's try to keep it this way. I understand your concerns, and for the record, we don't agree with the school board's decision with regard to that bus being terminated.
Sorry.
All right, that budget cuts, I know what the budget cuts were. I was on the school board for Hainesport for 10 years. I was the president of the board for 4 of those 10 years. And if you have to make budget cuts, you don't start with children's safety. Find somewhere else to make those cuts, and we're making that sentiment known to the board. Anyone else? Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Didn't mean to catch you.
No smoking, 9811th, Mount Holly resident. Just want to thank, this is the second highest view, total 84 people watching one time. The second one for Hainesport Township. The people want to know how the live video is going to be available right tomorrow. The video.
Yes, tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jerry?
Jerry Klaus, 135 Mount Laurel Road. I want to thank you for taping these proceedings, and I find it a good time to announce that I am the candidate. I look forward to meeting all the township residents in the coming months, and I appreciate the cameras and everything you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jerry.
Let's support the old saying, right? Who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? This young lady in the front.
Hi, Shirley Powell, 503 Lumberton Road in Hainesport. I kind of agree with the electric problem here, because I've been contacted several times of, somebody trying to change my electric, and I've told them no. So, I mean, I can see how people don't want to be told that they're going to be changed over. For $450 a month, that's not gonna, I live on a fixed income, and it's not gonna do anything for me. And I don't have enough to survive, but it's not gonna do anything for me.
Keep in mind that if this doesn't work out, next time around, we won't be involved in it, so we're figuring, let's give it a shot, see how it works out. If it doesn't, we can change our minds and abandon it.
Yeah, I know there's opting out and stuff like that, but I think people are having a problem with, somebody, township telling them that they're gonna be changed over. They
You're not
cannot
going to be
opt
changed
out.
over. PSE&G is still going to be who you're billed by.
Yeah, I understand that, but it was the same way when I used to get phone calls all the time and hang up on them all the time. And I said, no, all the time, but now the township is telling people that they're gonna change them over, but they have to opt out, and I don't know if there's anything you have to sign
There's
and
no
all that.
paperwork, and I'd be happy to help you, Shirley. It's a quick link. You
Yeah,
fill
but I
out.
don't wanna sign anything.
No, you're not signing your name. It's not paperwork. It's not snail mail. It's a link. You put in a certain
Yeah, I can do that.
account number, and then you are opted out in that very moment.
Yeah.
I would be more than happy to help you,
Yeah.
show you how you do it. It's very
I just
simple.
understand the people, and I understand what you're doing too. You're trying to save us $450 a month.
We're trying our best to do what's right.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate Mr. Fitzpatrick too, saying that he doesn't, really want to agree with it.
Mhm.
So that, and, this thing here with this road thing, I don't know, it seems like we're trying to spend money. Is somebody getting paid off for spending money or what? It just doesn't make any sense. I think there's something wrong there too, with this here road. And it doesn't include my route anyway, because I live on a county road.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's just my thoughts.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kitty's hand went up, I'm sorry. Her hand went up first, I'll get to you in a second, okay? I tend to go left to right. Get it, Kitty, come on up.
Catherine McNellis, 407 Bishop. I have a good friend that was going to come in and also complain about this electric. She doesn't have a computer, but unfortunately her husband went to the hospital this morning, so she can't be here. But I have a computer, but I'm computer illiterate, so I have a hard time doing anything on it. And I know a lot of people just don't have them. I think it's really bad that you have to opt out of this thing. And like Shirley said, I get so many calls, and I ask them, take me off your list. They call me 2 days later, or 2 hours later sometimes. It's been terrible. Everybody hates any other electric company but PSE&G just because of the phone calls. They drive you nuts. Also, just for your information, quite a few years ago, we had local people as custodians at our school, and a lot of them also drove school buses. And they decided that they had to have contracted people come in and take over the school buses. It was going to save us so much money, but it was $1 million more then. So I can understand it getting more now. And the same thing with the custodians. I'm sure that's a lot higher than it was when we had the local people.
Well, you're exactly right.
It's just a shame. Everything we do, we keep trying to get more professionals in instead of keeping the people right around the township.
You're exactly right. This movement to go to an outside contractor for school buses rather than using our own people to do that began when I was on the school board, and we fought it then, but I left the school board in 2006, I believe, and I think it happened shortly after.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs that our taxes go up every year for something that we had covered pretty well.
Exactly, and the point that the school is missing out on is that the people that worked as custodians and also worked the buses were local people who knew the kids.
Township people, a lot of
Township
them.
people, and had kept an eye out for the kids in a much better way. You knew who your
You
bus...
didn't worry about a kid left on a bus because they knew where they
They knew
went.
who your child was, and if there was a problem, you can work it out fairly easily. Now it's
Now it's going out of... Thank you.
it's a cluster something, but I can't use the word since I'm being filmed.
Thank you, Kitty.
Anyone else? Right, this young lady in the front, I almost missed you, sorry.
Hi, I'm Florence Stackhouse from Cumberland Avenue, and I'm having a problem also with my electric being changed over. I'm perfectly happy with PSE&G. I've never had a problem, and my bills are moderate. Now they're a little high because of the air condition, but I really don't like the idea of being changed over, and I would like to know, I'm a little bit computer illiterate myself, and actually my computer's not working all that good, and I just am very much against it.
There's supposed to be a town hall from the company that's running this, right?
Correct. They anticipate around November, they'll send out an information packet, and you'll also have the opportunity to drop a postcard, an opt-out postcard in the mail. So if you don't have internet access, you can also opt out manually by just checking off the box that says I opt out and putting that in the mail. A representative from CUC will be here the day after that information kit goes out. She'll be here for that entire week. She'll be here to physically, for anybody who physically comes into the building with any questions. She'll also field any of the phone calls. And then we'll have a couple town hall meetings in the evening, and then possibly another one in your community, and maybe at the street center during the day as well. So that'll all be put out to the public. There'll also be an information link available for those who do have access to a computer that goes through everything, like a 5-minute video that explains everything as well. So there's a lot of different avenues that will be coming up in November.
So we will be notified in the mail?
Yes, ma'am.
And we can just sign the card and send it back to opt out?
Yes, ma'am.
Will that be after we've already been billed by this other company?
No.
And one other thing, when you have problems, when you have outages, who's going to be doing the repairs?
Still PSE&G.
PSE&G will bill you.
I don't think they're going to be too happy with that, are they?
They're still responsible for delivery.
I know some people that work for PSE&G, and
Sure, they're used to this.
they're not too happy with that.
Yeah, they're still responsible to take care of those types of repairs, and if you should have like a worry-free contract with them, that's not affected by this.
Yeah. What I understand is maybe it'll be on the bottom of the list for repairs. They'll get there when they can. That's what I was told. So, but anyway, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Gentleman right there, stand up.
Jennings Black, 2505 Elm Avenue. I've been here a few times about the water condition of the creek. It has not changed in that way for several years. I have a suggestion. that since the south branch of the creek goes through so many different towns, why not dump this in the lap of the Board of Freeholders? We're not the only township being involved by this. So I think maybe a letter or so, or something off to the Board of Freeholders, say, hey, we have a problem with water, creek water, on incoming tides. We put out beautiful, nice, pure, pine barren, cedar water on the outgoing tide, and we get back turbo water. Been several years now, where that whole creek that just gets covered with sometimes just a scum and film on it from embankment to embankment, miles of it. I think it's time maybe we're taking this up a notch and say, okay, freeholders, time for you to look into this and you do something that's affecting so many towns. That's number one. I think it's time for that. Number two, we have something that's growing all over called, I think it's kudzu. It's like a vine, very invasive. Alongside our property down there, by the pumping station, this is taking down some monster trees. And a lot of times when it reaches the top of the tree is done. And there's probably 3 or 4 monster trees. I guess these trees might be over 100 years old, if not more, and they are down. But meantime, when they're killing these trees off like this, these limbs break off, they're dead. Some of them are like 100 foot up in the air. And if anybody's around underneath them, they're looking at liability situations. Down by Flo's Ramp, there's a lot of this growing down there also too. And I've spoken with the county. They've cut down some of the trees there to take care of some of the problems there. There's some more big limbs that are broken up way up high in the air. You need a high reach to reach these. When they come down, they do a lot of damage. I mean, it's a serious situation there. Another thought, with the business doing all the dumpsters and all back here in our industrial park, quite a few of us have had a number of flat tires. We have good tires, and yet we're getting long wallboard screws and pieces of metal through our tires. And it seems like I see a lot of times in the turning paths coming into our area down there, you'll see all kinds of debris. I quite often stop and pick up what I see there, because I don't want to drive through half screwdrivers or what else might be laying out there. Now, some of these dumpsters coming in there, the back end of the dumpsters, because everybody throws all their junk in these dumpsters, okay, are all like dished out, and there's that opening there. So as these trucks are coming in here, anything that's not secure inside that truck is dropping along the side of the roads. And I believe that's why we're all getting so many flat tires. And some of these fellows that bought, my neighbor bought a brand new tire, and like a couple days later, he's got a flat tire with a big chunk of metal through it. I followed a couple of these trucks coming out of there, even if they dumped their loads. And Bloom is one of the companies there, and I watched them. There was just waste paper blowing out of this all the way down Marne Highway here, coming both sides of the road, all the way down Creek Road, and then out on the 295. And I believe we should maybe just contact the business there. It's not their responsibility for these dumpsters. They just even a letter or so and say, hey guys, if you're going to be commercial truck drivers, do your job right. And the job calls to make sure your load is properly contained. I don't think we need to bring the police in and maybe start all kinds of nonsense over that. Let's keep them as a good tax wrapper there, okay? But maybe say, hey, here's a little, suggestion, you fellas, or a requirement. Make sure your truck is in proper order before you pull out the road. And if you need to go and seal off the bottom of that dumpster, need to be repaired, we'll take it to the shop and repair it. That's the safe thing, the right thing to do. I just think it's not only once, this is a number of times now, I have followed them out there like this. It creates a safety hazard, plus we have this litter going over streets out there. So if you folks like me, just a letter to the company and say, hey, would you please advise your drivers there to do their job properly? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Black, let me just slow you down a little bit. I've seen you come up before.
Yeah.
And everyone may not be aware of what you're talking about on the Rancocas. You said that there's debris coming up from somewhere. I think you once brought this issue to the health department of the county, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think you brought to them some examples of the debris?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
So far, nothing.
Did they say anything?
So far, nothing.
All right. So
They didn't say it was natural vegetation?
Pardon?
They didn't say it was natural vegetation?
Well, then why doesn't it go in two directions? Just logic. Why does all the natural organic vegetation only come in on the incoming tide? Why isn't there no natural vegetation up there in the pine lands? Why are we sending out beautiful cedar water and getting back garbage? I mean, it's...
household garbage, what?
Pardon?
What kind of garbage, sir?
It's a scum on top of the water. You know, when you look at nice clear water,
But it's not
and you see a mirror, no, it's not, well, some of it is organic material, I understand that, okay? Some of it is. But when it gets this film and foam on top of it, why does foam only go in one direction? I mean, that just, to me, does not make sense.
May I suggest that if you want to petition the county, that's good if you can do it, try to get an organized essay or some type, where you can, in a logical, succinct manner, make your points, your evidence, and we can put it in a nice package so that it could be brought to the county. All right? And I think you'd be better off doing that. You may have even kept a log or a record of things that are wrong. If you could put that all in writing, I think that's your best route to get the county's attention.
Well,
Weren't you given a phone number a couple of years ago?
Yes,
To call?
Yep,
Did they
yep,
come out
yep,
and
yep.
speak with you?
A lot of times, it's usually on a three-quarter tide. When tide's coming up about maybe three-quarters, so that's when it normally starts to come. And it comes all the way past Federal Moore Highway Bridge here. I mean, I'm not the only one seeing it. I mean, it's quite a bit. I mean, it's not just
But I thought you told us the last time that they requested that you call them when it was happening so that they could come and see it while it was happening.
I've done that, and there was one young lady, that I do have her card, I have called her, I believe once or twice, at least once anyway. The second time, I'm not sure what happened there, whether she saw that or not, I'm not sure.
But did she come to
Yeah, she
say?
picked me out one time, but it was not, by the time she got there, it had started to dissipate some. But we look up from the back of our place there, and I mean, it's downright nasty looking, you know. And sometimes on the dock there, it's all brown and does not look very healthy at all.
And it may also help if you enlist the help of your neighbors, too, to at least sign the same darn petition. You may get the attention more so with numbers.
I don't see any concern. I mean, I'm concerned. I know where our drinking water comes out of the Delaware River right outside of Dredge Harbor. I was just out there the other day. Those two big suction pumps are out there, and they're, I guess, higher over my head or so. And that's where they suck the water out of the river there, you know, and that's the same water that's coming up the Rancogus Bay. That's this place right here.
Well, I imagine New Jersey Water Company treats that water they get from the Delaware River.
Well, that's all processed through them. Yeah. I'm sure, I even spoke to one of those folks, and they kind of just moved me off, you know. I said, well, they process their water, so, yeah, you have any idea what it is? Well, we process it, that's all, that's as far as they get with that. Yeah.
Okay. Next topic, and final one, you mentioned that there's debris coming from trucks.
Yes.
And I missed, are you talking about the road in front of your house?
No, I'm from Martin Highway.
Martin Highway?
Right where they turn in down here by the gas station, right back there, you know.
Okay.
It's dumpster after dumpster, I mean, it's, you know, it's quite a parade there all day long. There's a lot going back in there, okay?
That's an industrial
And
area.
a lot of those fellows coming out of there, you know, a commercial driver has a responsibility to maintain that. That's their responsibility.
Got it.
I used to be a commercial driver, I understand that.
This private road?
If it's a commercial truck that's driving unsafe, that's the state police job.
Yeah, but I can't see, I hate to go all through that and go and create a lot of anger maybe over that, rather than just maybe a letter from Mark, or, you know, one of you guys, the mayor or township, say, hey, you know, we've been advised that there's some debris being blown over our roadway out here.
Who would we write to?
Right to the company. Give them some official letter from Township of Hainesport.
Is it the company's trucks or people doing business with the company that are doing that?
These are all different companies. I see, you know, all kinds of different companies, but they have a bulletin board, so they can put a driver, no doubt the drivers come in, hey, make sure your truck is up here before you leave here, you know. You follow me?
I follow you. I don't necessarily agree with that strategy, but
Well, yeah, we put a state trooper out there.
I think what's going on...
I tried to get one fellow's attention, I couldn't get his attention, say, hey, buddy, you're blowing trash over our township, you know?
But we have no means to enforce any violations or even police the violations, whereas the state police can cite them, can pull licenses.
Oh, yeah.
And everything else, which is really what you want to do. I mean, there's got to be a carrot and stick. Hey, you want to stay in business? Fix your truck. You don't want to be in business? Don't fix your truck.
And the other thing, if your truck is empty, you check it, make sure it's empty before you pull back out Hainesport roads.
If the problem is as extensive as you say it is, and I believe you, then we should bring it to the state police's attention. That's the fastest way.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have the same problem you got with this water situation from the EPA and the county and everybody else. The problem's still there, but no one's fixing it because no one's in a position to enforce whoever it is
that's polluting it, if it's pollution.
Well, I was trying to be nice, and say, hey, why, maybe just a letter, official letter from the township here saying, could you just ask your drivers to make sure, check their trucks before they leave, make sure they're not blowing debris all over our streets.
If they get cited and they're brought in the municipal court, they're looking at $1,000.
Oh, yeah, I understand that,
Right?
yeah, I understand
I think
that.
that's where,
Get their attention.
that'll get...
Yeah, the letter might be a little too soft.
I understand, when I drove a school bus, if
I have no problem with asking our administrator to contact the state police to see if they can monitor the situation, and just putting a car there once in a while may scare them to keep their truck in repair, because they know if that truck's not safe and they get stopped.
Oh,
they
yeah,
can't-
I understand.
They can't drive it from it's got to stay there. Someone else, the trailer's got to come out, so that's going to be an expense for them in addition to the fines and everything else, so play nice with us, we'll play nice with you.
Well, my thought was just go and be good neighbors maybe and just say, hey, been brought to our attention, can you have your, put a note or so there, say, let's advise your truck driver to do their job.
I appreciate the sentiment, the good neighbor sentiment. The problem is, practically speaking, we'd have to write all over the place for all these different companies that go through that area. It'd be better to just put a state trooper there to warn them that, hey, we're watching. That's also being nice, right? Cops there's watching you.
You may see me out there with a sign.
Okay. All right, talking to you, Mr. Black. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Black.
Anyone else before we move on? Sure, go ahead.
He just reminded me, I've been wanting to complain about my road on 503, Shirley Powell, 503 Lumberton Road. Complain about my road all the time. There's not even tractor and trailers allowed to come down there. And there's one right after another anymore. I used to go out there and raise heck with them and send them a different way and everything, but I'm taking care of a baby now. I can't run out there and get trucks. But, and also the speed on my road. Lumberton Road, it's on the other side of 38, my part of Lumberton Road. It's on the other side.
We'll look into that as well.
Down by Dunleavy's. But the school situation with the buses, that is so sad that happened. I was there, I fought that. I knew what was going to happen. I worked in buses, I worked in bus companies. And I knew what was going to happen, and they just didn't listen. They had, their agenda to do. And Mr. Fitzpatrick was on the...
Indeed he was.
Yes, he was, on the school board then. And it's a sad thing that happened, and the price is I told them the price will keep going up, every new contract. And now they can't afford it. And see, they ordered only 13 buses, I think, and then they needed 19 buses. So the contractor is going to charge them double for because they need more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
No.
I tried to fight that.
We agree with you. When I was on the board, I was against it as well.
It's terrible that they did that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I think this gentleman's coming up to the thing.
Thomas Kennedy, 6 South Hunterdon Ave. Ted, I'd like to thank you for standing with Liberty. The last time I was compelled to come before the board was the very last meeting. You guys had cast a yay vote to spend $81,000 on something only one man knew what he was voting on. But we decided to spend $81,000. Tonight, we're presented with a project. We don't know what it does. We don't know the details of it. But we're going to spend another $17,000 tonight. So in 2 meetings, we're up $100,000 and we don't know what we're getting. But you are sitting here telling us you're saving us $4 a month. I would like to, please.
Listen, if you want to debate me, I'd be happy to meet you anywhere and debate you, but if you want to do it in public, let's get the facts straight. Number one, you were explained what that program does. And you've also explained how it saves money prospectively with regard to the budget, engineering costs, and so forth. So we're not spending money willy-nilly or spending $100,000 just...
That was the $17,000 for that.
No, you said 100, because you said
81 for the mower.
Now, with regard to that, because you've made some comments in the past, and you made some comments in public about that particular issue. Our Public Works... Listen, you walked up here, you weren't even acknowledged. You just walked up here like you owned the place. You didn't even ask to be called up. We have rules here. Okay? Now, with regard to the flailing mower, our Public Works Department asked for that equipment. That department has done a yeoman's job in taking care of this town with regard to trees falling, all the storm damage that we've incurred over the past couple of years. They've worked as hard as they could with limited resources to get the job done. They've never in the past asked for anything they didn't need. If they come to me and say they need a Johnson rod, or they need whatever, and I know that they're responsible in what they do, I'm going to do the best to get them what they need to get the job done. No one's spending your money just on a lark, as you suggest. So get your facts straight the next time you open your...
When you presented that, you said, I don't even know what that is.
He was joking.
That's right. But I don't need to know, because I trust them, because they do a good job and they do good work.
Well, as the leaders, it's your job to know exactly...
Don't tell me what my job is to do. My job is not to micromanage them here. I don't work here 40 hours a day. My job is to make sure work gets done, services are provided, people have a concern, that concern's addressed, and that concern is remedied.
Yes, I see.
Okay.
Thank you for standing for liberty. Thank you for saving my 4 hours, and we're voting on other things.
And next time, you wait to be called before you come up.
Okay, I thought everyone was done.
You still have to be acknowledged.
Gotcha.
All right?
Understand. So that's all. And welcome to the party with the bus situation. That's been going on for 6 years in the Claremont section. We're forgotten about. Our kids have been walking to RV for the last 6 years, but nobody cares about that either.
Go to the school board meeting.
We're not the school.
Well, of course, but what the problem, and I'm not a trained lawyer as you are, what the township probably could do is pass an ordinance that says our children can't leave the city limits of Hainesport without being bused. So when our kids are leaving Hainesport, huh?
You can't do that. That's unconstitutional. You can't put restraint on people's movements. It's unconstitutional. You can't do that.
Of course, I understand my freedom, but telling the school board for busing situations, we're going to have our kids walk all the way out to RV.
We don't have authority over the school board to dictate that type of ordinance. They're a separate governmental agency.
I understand they are.
September 25th is the next school board meeting. You should
Well, it doesn't matter. My daughter's graduated. This was brought up here 6 years ago.
So you're complaining about something that doesn't matter?
This is water under the bridge for me. I'm just saying, welcome to the party. This is nothing new. And in the Claremont section, so since we're going and we're spending money on capital improvements, I don't know, because we're forgotten about on that side of the bypass, I don't know when's the last time the sidewalks have been replaced, because they're out on the township's property, they're not on the private property. I don't know when we're going to start spending money over there. Everything on this side of Hainesport's handled. On that side, we're forgotten about. Our kids walk to RV, but the bus that picks up all these kids literally drives 3 feet in front of my house, but it won't stop to pick up our kids, so our kids are going to walk all the way to RV. Actually, it's 2 buses.
I mean, this is the first I'm hearing that there's a...
Well, I think you were on the school board. My wife was first beefing about that, but... Well, it doesn't matter.
I left the school board in 2006, and with regard to the busing, I wouldn't allow or wouldn't vote for a commercial contract for the bus.
Well, the bus isn't my issue. My issue is, please be informed on what we're spending. So they're only going to scan it once. On the water runoff, we still have to send somebody out there to look to see how much debris is collecting. So we save no money, because someone still has to physically put eyeballs to get the assessment of how much is at the runoff drain. This gentleman was talking about commercial trucks going down the road. They come down today, they scan the road. Tomorrow, a 100,000-pound truck goes down there. It's not the same. The crown of the road is completely different. Everything's changed. In regards to...
That's not true. But let's stick to what we know, since you seem to be keen on discussing what people know. Let's stick to what we know here. All right? That program has an algorithm in it. It takes into account traffic on the roads and what kind of detrimental effect that traffic will have on the roads. It stands to reason that there's going to be trucks going back and forth, and there may be wear and tear on the road because of the weight of the truck.
Up to 80,000 pounds.
That's taken into account with regard to the algorithm. Are you familiar with the program and how it works?
No, but I know
then you can't criticize.
A maximum truckload is 80,000 pounds. And you need a permit to run up over and above that.
If you're going to be...
So if I run down the road with a permitted load, I'm at 120,000 pounds. It doesn't do anything for your... It doesn't do anything for your survey. We still have to have someone go and look at it. We've done nothing. And where's all the county engineering maps? Shouldn't all the county engineering maps already show where these things are? Where's the county engineer? He should know exactly where all these things are. We don't need this guy to come and tell us where they're at. The county engineer should know exactly where everything is.
This is to gauge the conditions of the roads in order to make planning decisions going forward. It's, your characterization is just not accurate.
Or for possible sinkholes or something.
The county's responsible for the county's roads.
Yes.
They're not responsible for
But this
the
is for
township.
our roads.
This is for local
Yes.
township roads.
Yeah.
They have no jurisdiction to do any kind of mapping or GI, anything for local roadways. They're responsible for county roads. State is responsible.
So
for
our engineer should know where all of ours are.
Sure, if you want to pay 3-4 times the amount of money.
But who maintains these engineering maps? They have to be maintained for the public viewing somewhere.
We don't have any.
They're either at the clerk's or the county building, or they're here. Somebody has these engineering maps. Somebody does.
We have never had an engineer study done on our local roadways.
So when they were
In
put in,
totality.
when these roads were put in, there was not an engineer that signed off on these roads?
For the installation of the roadways,
Yeah,
but
you may be confusing the road maps and what was approved by the land use planning board and things like that. Sure, there's all kinds of maps of that, but they're not engineering done. They're just for land use planning and so forth.
In regards to the radar imaging for sinkholes, I don't know how accurate that is, because if you know where that is, the state of Florida and Lakeland, Florida would love to know how to predict where the sinkhole is. I don't know that technology is there, but Florida would love to know about it if it does exist. That's all. Please, be a little bit more. It just seemed like we didn't know what we were voting on. It took forever to get a second. It really took forever to get someone even to vote on it, to bring it up. Then it took forever so in your heart. So I think a lot of people knew we really don't know enough, which someone said I'm not voting on it because I don't know enough.
I have a question. You brought up the cutbacks of the school bus. Why did you bring that to us if you say you don't care? Because I personally care.
My
I
kids
wish I could change that,
graduated.
but
We were here 6 years
unfortunately,
ago.
this
Yes.
committee, we can't.
This was way before your time.
Before my time, but I'm just telling you, don't come up here and blame us for something that we had no say over. We all care about that.
Well, I think he was on the school board. You were on the board.
I was on school, and what exactly did I do when I was on school board that you recall?
I'd have to ask my wife. It was hard for her to get in touch with you, I think, but I don't know.
Hard to get in touch with me.
I think.
Let me tell you something, I was on the school board for 9 years, and I was president for 4.
4 years ago.
No, 10 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. He's talking 4 years ago.
6 years ago.
I was done 10 years ago.
All right, well, then what, it was whoever was, because township sends a representative
Well, I'm
over.
glad you acknowledge that, because it's the second time you made an accusation about me that...
Well, I acknowledge that one then.
All right?
So, that's all I have.
Anybody about anything, as long as you get your facts.
See, I see the votes and I come up here because I get emotional on it, so next time I'll write things down. Thank you for standing with Liberty. Thank you for saving me my $4 a month. I appreciate it. Thanks for the king making decisions for everybody. Thank you.
There's one lady over there that wanted to-
Anyone else before we go into closed session? That gentleman over there.
the lady in Florida.
Yeah, Mike Dutcher, 106 Masons Woods Lane. This is about the resolution about the electricity. I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I don't know what was approved and what wasn't. Now, I think tonight's resolution, just what's written on here, is just for the township buildings and the streetlights.
Right.
Was the last resolution passed to have all of us already opt into this other program? And if so, I thought it was postponed to this meeting. No?
No.
Okay. Now, with that...
We all didn't vote for it, though, just so you know. Everybody was not on board with that
It
resolution.
was a 3-2 vote.
So we just voted again tonight to pass it all the way through, or?
No.
Okay.
We didn't touch
Motion
it.
was to revisit the old vote.
Revisit the old.
That motion was died on the table.
I just had a couple questions
That,
with it.
what you were just referring to earlier is the electricity for the township buildings and streetlights.
Right,
They're
okay.
not governed by that consortium, so they couldn't get into that even if they wanted to, so they had to find their source somewhere else.
Just had a couple questions with it. How many towns are up into this program so far? You're talking about all these towns in Burlington County opted into this program already?
There were at least 10 when we were first informed, there may have been more.
From who? From that company, or from,
In
who was
Burlington
it?
County.
From Burlington County Commissioner's Office or something?
I think
Freeholders.
freeholders have confirmed it, and so did Ryan Peters.
Assemblyman Ryan Peters and the freeholders, and it's on the website. I can send it to you. I'd be happy to send it to you. There's quite a few towns.
Quite a few, but you don't know how many, you're just surmising 10?
Well, when
I'm just asking.
I read about it back in February of this year, it was about like 10 towns, so it
Okay,
could be...
yeah, I just had another question. Did Public Service ever have a chance to match this?
Yes.
And they came back, or did they approach this township, or you're saying as a whole to the other 10 townships, or did they ever come to this board and try to match this, or did you guys ever reach out to them? Because there seems to be like, there's a lot of people from Public Service that live in this area that voted for a lot of you people on here, okay? That I don't think they were aware of what's going on. I see it on, the Facebook and all that other stuff. So I wasn't even when this was even happening until I came up here tonight. Now, one person's got my vote for next time, that this votes are going on, because, I do live in this township and I do work for the company. But I was just curious, because me working for the company, and there's a lot of other people here tonight that work for the company, were they ever informed by this township at all to match it?
They went out to bid, the freeholders.
I'm not saying freeholders, for us as Hainesport
But this
Township.
is through the freeholders, but we're getting it through the county.
Your answer is no. No.
Well, the answer is no, that the township didn't do that.
That's what he asked. The answer is no.
I can speak for myself.
Don't get rough now.
I know.
Tell me the answer is no.
Take time.
Don't jump on me there, dude.
The
You
county...
yell at him, you yell at me. You look
The
testy tonight.
The county, when they formed this consortium, did discuss with PSC&G as to whether or not they can match, and I believe the answer is no. I got that information from the county. You can certainly check that out.
And who was this in the county that you talked to? You keep saying them. I mean, I'm losing, there's a lot of hearsay of them. I like a name, so we
I'm just going by the literature that I read, and
Who gave the presentation? What was her name? Stasia Scaduto with CUC. She came and gave a presentation.
And this was from that company?
No, this is from the county.
This lady is from the county that you're saying?
Let me pull up.
He's the representative from CUC, who is the one that manages the energy aggregation program, which is done by Burlington County as a co-op, which the towns have an opportunity to enter into. But the county is the lead agency, and they're the ones that do all the negotiating. They're the ones that manage the program. And towns have an opportunity per Title 14, which is through the deregulation of energy, which is the impetus behind all of this. The towns have an option of entering into the contract, Burlington County's contract.
She gave this presentation before we did the initial vote. So-
Here, like on the
Yes,
board?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't here for it, so I'm just...
And I'm sorry. if
Yeah, I know, I
You're
just
just
heard that,
freaked
and we
out
see
now.
everything for votes on there, and I'm just curious myself, who worked for the company, if they've ever approached the township here itself to save us money, or to match it, instead of opting in one little program, somebody voted for it.
This program came up once before, a few years back, and the old committee shot it down because they didn't think it was the right fit for this group, and
So the new...
I'm kind of the last guy standing from the old committee, so I still...
Oh, it seems like Ted was on board with
Yeah,
it
Ted's
too,
on board. Ted's on board as well.
we voted against it, the three newcomers on here that are voting for this.
Yeah.
Well, it's...
All right, no, I just, thank you for your time, because to save us money, the match money, also when votes go out, it's very important for us to know all the information.
Absolutely, but just to be clear, the program that was voted on now, the one that was voted on this year, was not quite the same as the one that was rejected by the past committee. So it's not accurate to say, well, we had this before and we rejected it.
We did.
It's not the same program.
Different lady.
It's not. The guarantees are spelled out clearly, and the guarantees are what they are. They're guarantees. They're not promises where the numbers can be fluctuated and the savings that you're promised don't materialize. Here, the guarantee, the savings is guaranteed. And if the end of the year's up and it's not working correctly or people are still not satisfied, we just won't do it a second time.
So this is a one-year program what I'm taking then, you're saying?
We can end it any time we want, but generally speaking, we'll review these things at
Once a year. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Hi, Tracy Howe, 110 Delaware Avenue. In regards to the aggregation program, when does this go in effect?
November.
Is there a date? I mean, you said someone will be here to talk to us, answer questions in November. Is there a date when it's actually going to go into effect?
right after the presentation, that's my understanding. Is that correct, Paul?
There's not a specific date yet. Everything goes up to DCA. PSE&G has to release the information in terms of addresses of their clients, and then the kit has to be vetted, and then we need to determine the dates for the town hall. So there's still a lot of things that are in motion, at least another month and a half. My conversation with them last week was around mid-November is when they anticipate.
Okay, will that also be the deadline for residents to opt out?
No, there's no deadline to opt out. You can opt in, you can opt out at any time during the period of the program.
Okay. Is it my understanding that in order for the residents to have a savings in this, that you have to have a majority of the residents opting in?
No, we just all have to be opted in the beginning for them to even consider us, and then once we're all opted in, then everyone, as many people can opt out.
To answer your question, it could be a mass exodus out of the program.
Then you can opt back in and you can opt back out.
As many times as you'd like.
Back out or go with somebody else.
Okay, so how do we, if there's a lot of us here that are, want to opt out, how are we being opted in the beginning?
Because for this to work, it's kind of like going to Costco. They need a lot of people in it for it to be even worth beginning the program. So they want all of us opted in, and then after it begins, then you can opt out.
So we can't call a number now and opt out?
Not yet, I'm sorry.
Keep it on your bill.
But if you opt out and you change your mind and you hear good things, you can opt back in as many times as you'd like, and there's no fees, no penalties.
You can do what Mike Fitzpatrick just said. You can keep on your bill if you see the provider's name has changed. It'll still say PSE&G, but if you go to the provider portion of the bill, if the name is it's not PSE&G, that'd be your signal to opt out. Or when the program starts, you can opt out right from the very beginning.
Right. Will you report back to us the number of residents that opted out and opted in?
If we get that information, we'll be happy to share it, but I don't know if we get that. Ask, if we get it, share.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Anyone else before we go into, we got bills to pay and then we're going to executive session. Anyone else? Going once? Twice? 3 times? Right. So, time for comments from the administrator.
Right. I'm happy to report that the tree on the corner of Deacon and Martin Highway that Mrs. James brought to our attention last month has been cut. So I want to thank Jay, our Public Works foreman, and the department for coordinating the removal. They did not remove the entire tree because there was poison ivy. So the trunk is still there, but in the winter, when the poison ivy dies, they'll go back and finish removal. I'm happy to announce that we received formal HD SRF grant award letter from DEP for the HITCO site, so we can now finally begin the final round of remedial investigation with Rich Britton on that property. So, got the letter 2 weeks ago. Let me see. I want to thank Mr. Cooper for bringing up the technology grant. We were able to determine that there were funds still available with no limitation on its use, so we were able to utilize that money for the video recording system as well as a portion of it for the street scan technology. So we are utilizing grant money for a portion of both of those. All of the video recording and a portion of the street scanning. And that's it. Thank you.
Comments from the solicitor, John? Okay. Comments from our committee? Ed?
Thanks for coming out, everybody. Hey, I just wanted to mention to you that I'll be a ShopRite bagger at some point in the next few weeks for charity. And it was my kid's first job, so I can't wait to tell him that I'm taking over his first job. So I'll be bagging your groceries if you happen to go there between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock on a certain day. And that will be my pleasure. Should be some fun.
Leela?
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you, Ted. I'm glad I'll see you there. September the 19th. It's ShopRite's Partners in Caring Days, where they're collecting donations to fill the local food banks. So a number of people from the township are going to be there bagging to bring awareness to this fact. Although there are people here in the township building, we collect for the food bank also on a regular basis, along with bins for the veterans and animal shelter donations that are located in the foyer there. So at any time you feel you have things to donate for the food bank or the vets or the animals, you can bring it here to the township building. Just wanted to remind everybody that September 13th and the 27th, the Senior Citizens Club meeting dates at the Street Center, they're at noon. And then September 22nd, I see the 8th grade class at the school, excuse me, are having their car wash again from 9 to 12 for the cost of $5, which is a great cost, and the kids do a great job. The money goes towards the 8th grade dance. And remind everybody that September 21st is free movie night here at the Township Building. Despicable Me 3 will be here. The rain date is the 22nd. It's a BYOB or C, meaning blanket or chair. There will be a food vendor here at 6 o'clock. The movie will start at dusk, probably sometime around 7, so it should be a fun time for all the kids in the township. There's also a walk, the first annual TNR walk. It's put together with the Wolf House and the Hainesport Community Cats. They're having a walk here around the township park from 9 to 12 on October 27th. There's some sign-up sheets in the back if you know anybody that'd like to participate. The cost is $10 and you get a free T-shirt. It should be a fun time to help aid the people that are trying to make the feral cats community shrink by getting them neutered and taking care of and getting them vaccinated. So if you know anybody that'd be interested, there's a sheet to sign up. And that's it. Thank you.
Mike? I'd like to thank the mayor for taking the time this evening for the moment of silence for 9/11. And I think as we all go home this evening, we should all remember what took place today and hug or kiss your loved one before you go to bed tonight. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, the committee and I, we're always trying our best to improve our town. And I'm very pleased that tonight is our first night filming for the residents who were unable to attend this meeting tonight. So, that's it, and as always, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for coming out. You know, I enjoy a spirited debate, no matter who it's with, even this gentleman over here. And we try to do the best for the town, as you know. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. But we're trying to do what's best for the town. So drive safely. Thank you for coming. Hope we see you next month. You're welcome to stick around, by the way. I mean, we're going into closed session. But then
We're going to pay the bills.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. We have to pay the bills, and after that, we're going to closed session. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
Sure.
I'll second that.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Absolutely.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, do you have any?
I do,
Okay.
unfortunately. You ready?
Yes.
18-00687, 18-00693, and 18-00723.
Please keep it down, because this is recorded. And it's going to be on video, so people like to hear what we're saying.
Mayor Mashaki?
Yes. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
The exception of the meeting's action would be for discussion regarding the acquisition of real estate or the acquisition of real estate.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mayor Masaki?
Yes.
This is probably a 15-minute discussion, and I don't expect a whole lot to do.
Great.
Do we have a motion to re-enter open session?
Yes.
Can I get a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second it, someone. Please.
Second.
I can say.